Hello YouTube. So today I'm going to bring you a video trying to explain everything you should think about during a normal round.
User entered your channel.
So let me mute TeamSpeak
Sound muted.
and get started. So first of all, first thing I want you to notice is look at the map. The NRF and EU are of course equally spaced apart because if they were 100 meters apart, they'd be equally spaced. If they're 80 meters apart, they'd be equally spaced, right? I mean, they're basically on the other side of the map, so that's all that matters. So what you're eventually going to run into here is middle points. The middle where you would meet is the important, especially because in demolition, of course, there's two sites, 1 and 2. Now, of course, the NRF team, that wants to quote-unquote defend them. They don't exactly have to defend them, and sometimes you purposely let them get a site for alternative reasons. But for our purpose here, let's just know that, you know, they want to cover them. So what's the best way to cover them? Well, if it's an NRF player, you go on site, you know, you have a few things to think about. They can come from here in the vent usually, right? They're not usually going to come from here because that's your spawn. So they'd have to go through middle, which is, of course, the longest way to take. And so you would usually just expect this and this. Well, isn't there a way to do this easier? You know, have to watch mid and 1 and stairs and everything? Well, of course, if the NRF can push up, this is the middle point, right? If the NRF can take over the middle point, then they can only leave one person here to watch this, and it's easier to watch the stairs that way. And then, so that's one less person you have to have there. Now, if the NRF can early on push out the van or push up middle here, they would come up here, and they're able to take this area over, the middle point, and stay here. Do you know what happened then? That means that the person inside 1 wouldn't have to watch the vent. The people at base wouldn't have to watch this way because, of course, he's in mid. And, yeah, so if we got a guy here and a guy in the pillar, we cover 1 with 2 people. Usually you need at least 3 and you need somebody mid. That means you could stack up 2 so hard that it'd be really easy if they came 2, right? That's why taking over the middle is so important for NRF. For EU, if the EU is able to take over the pillar, the spiral, and the middle by the stairs, it's really easy for them because, think about it, if the enemy has a pillar, it's hard to, say, push up here, get a pick, and then go on the site because you killed somebody so far back that by the time you get to the site, the people that were in mid on their team or 2 can rotate, right? And not only that, but it's just not feasible to think about going into 1 because you have to get a kill all the way at pillar, then you have to go all the way through the stairs, then you have to go to the site, then kill the people there, then take the site, right? Whereas, if you take over the pillar, it's feasible to say, we could take 1 basically, because you can turn your kill on the stairs, push in, take the site, it's over. If there is any advanced stairs. If not, if you can take over the stairs, it's even better, because then all you have to do is go in and kill people, take the site, it's that easy. Basically, there's less space in between where the enemy team can rotate or anything funky. The reason why taking over mid is important. Say that we were doing a normal split, you know, 2 people at 2, 2 people at 1. No, let's just 3 people at 1, 2 people at 2. Nobody went with. Well, imagine the enemy team comes all the way up here, takes over this, and yeah. Now the problem is, say that the people from 2 want to go to 1. They can't go through mid. You have it. They can't come through base. You would hear them and possibly get a pick. People at 1 want to go to 2. It's hard because you have them. So basically, the mid is important because if you want to be able to rotate from site to site, you need to have the mid. And not only that, but especially in this map, it's important because you can push in through another direction. Having 2 directions entering the site, which makes people on site have to split their attention, which is pretty hard for them to do, right? Taking over spiral. How would you feasibly be able to get them 2 if you weren't able to go through mid or spiral? That would mean you'd have to kill the person mid and then go all the way up here. Remember, there's a person in spiral right on their team. Kill the person in spiral, then get all the way in the site, hoping that they didn't rotate from 1 yet. And if so, by the time you're planning, they'll probably be coming in, and it's just really annoying. So basically, the cross junctions on all maps are really important. On this map, it's the pillar, the middle area by the vent and the stairs, and the spiral.
Yep.
Wait 1 second. Sorry about that. The live stream that I was watching that I had muted came unmuted somehow. But as I was saying, the cross junks all maps are important, not just this map, of course. Like on Black Knight, you have the gen, the warehouse, freezer, control room, those kinds of things, right? So you have to think about that. Now, let's just start off as a normal round, you know, you spawn. Well, you might have a plan already. You might have a plan, you know, two people with good chemistry that work together well, like Nega and Do on my team, would maybe be going spiral. Maybe we say two slices, I'll get mid. So then it's me and whoever else may be going to the pillar. So you might have a dedicated C4 carrier, you might not. The thing is, whoever takes the C4 just can't push in with it and die with it or something. That's all there is to say about that. It doesn't really matter who has it. Now, the first thing you want to know as a competitive player, you can run all the way up until the point to where you're getting near the middle. That's where you want to stop running because, you know, the sound maybe. But it depends. You might want to rush and take over the room. That might be more important. But you want to do things that are good. As a competitive player, you wouldn't want to. This is a hard habit. Even a lot of us have it, like me. You might want to run up here. A lot of people like me, I don't have a pistol right now. Maybe you'll run with your nade to run faster because it's faster than your gun. But then you jump to switch weapons like that. That's bad. Jumping can be heard all the way across the map. It's louder than anything else you do across sound. You do not want to jump unless you have to. So a competitive player, you need to know, do not jump, do not do something like this. Try not to. Another thing, you want to avoid things like this, rugs, wood, make a lot of sound. You can hear this all the way in 2 practically, and yet, if I run here, you won't be able to hear me unless you're in pillar, really. So, yeah. So once you get to the middle point, you want to start shifting, maybe. And as a competitive player, you would know that they can't be here yet, probably. So you'll be expecting them coming out this corner, coming to the door, on the stairs. But you know where to expect them at. That's map knowledge. Another thing, you want to know head level aim. Right here is head level. Right on these little lines. Right on there. So that means as you come up the stairs, you want to get your aim on that. That means if somebody turns a corner, boom, headshot, boom, headshot, boom, headshot. You know? Now, you might know that the enemy team happens to play on the stairs or might not. But at this point, if we're slow playing, what I'm just going to do is keep my crosshair on the door and just wait. Now, say that one teammate wants to throw a nade. What's bad is to just walk up here and start throwing the nade close to the door. Because even if you have a teammate covering you, right, like here, well, if you're going to go in front of the door, you're going to block his view. So say that this guy turns the corner, you're going to end up shooting your teammate and the enemy for one thing. So, if you're going to throw a nade, you need the other person that's with you to cover you. You can't throw a nade if you're not covered. For example, if there's nobody with me, I'm not just going to pull a nade here and try to throw it. Because if I start to throw the nade and there's a guy on the stairs, he's going to hear me go or whatever. It's going to be an easy kill. Now, you can throw it, I guess, when somebody's covering. So if you have a teammate like watching the early angle here. See how if I watch here, it's bad? Because he could peek up, kill my teammate, and I wouldn't see him because this angle is in the way. Whereas if I go like this, I can see more, right? So if a teammate's covering you like this, you might be able to toss a nade like this. But the question is, should you toss a nade? You want to be careful about tossing nades. Nega yells at me all the time because of bad habit of, when nobody's pushing, I don't have to go anywhere. Basically, there's no action going on. I start to get impatient. So I'll, you know, try to chuck a nade for sound. Well, that's not a good thing because the enemy is doing the same thing right here, right? As soon as they hear you doing that, they have a chance. So you get a kill, 2 kills. Even if a teammate's covering you, you know, they turn the corner, one guy's not even has the gun out. So if you kill the guy with the gun, the other guy's dead too. It's really risky. So you really want to make sure that nade's important. So like, you know, maybe if you know for sure that this will flash everybody in the stairs, then that'd be acceptable. But you want to be really careful about that. Same with reloading, you know. Say you fall fire, they fall back. Well, you can't just reload easily because if his other teammate pushes up, kills you got the gun, kills you, once again, you're risking a lot here. Every kill matters, especially a double kill. That's huge. Yeah. So now, as a competitive player, you want to look at these things. You want to think about, do you really need a nade? You know, you don't want a nade just for sound. You don't want a nade in the open. Like, you don't want to throw a nade right here. Of course, the guy can through the door and kill you. You don't want a nade in a way that the team is covering is behind you. Kill, friendly fire. You don't want to... You want to be careful. You don't want to nade all the time because you're going to have your teammate covering you. You want to be careful about when you're reloading. If you're reloading, you might want to reload behind a wall. That way, if they do turn the wall, you know, you're not going to die. And then you can, you know, do this. you just want to be really careful about these kind of things. You want to watch your angle when you're covering, make sure you're getting the best angle, and you want to think about not making too much noise by jumping, like I said, running on rugs, such things. Now, let's talk about, so you're split up, what else could happen? Let's think about some general things here first. You want to look at your radar, be aware, you know, say your teammate at mid gets in a slight gunfight, you can see where they are on the radar. You can start mentally thinking, okay, I heard, you know, maybe 1 or 2 guys on the stairs, maybe I heard a guy vent, then I know there's maybe 1 guy mid, 1 guy in 2, maybe 2 guys in 2, maybe 2 guys mid, and maybe, you know, you can start formulating where could they be, where could we go, where are my teammates at, how much HP do we have, where could we push, where are they looking, where's the enemy looking. That's what you want to be thinking about. Things like aiming for this, they should honestly be reflex. Like when I'm running up the stairs here, I don't think about it. If I'm running up, I'm automatically doing this. My crosshairs like this the whole time, right on that head level. If I nade, I really have to work on my nading specifically because a lot of times throw nades that are bad. I have to work on reloading. I'm usually okay about. You don't want to reload after every shot, but yet, you know, every shot can count. So if you're like, say you're rotating right now, you can reload. But you're not going to like want to reload as you're like running up middle, right? Because there could be enemies here. Okay. Let's talk about the guy going mid. You'd want to, of course, you might want to push out right away, you might not. You have to be aware the enemy made here. The enemy might be hanging off this wall. They might jump peek the vent, they might rush you. So when you go mid, you turn like this, check in the vent, turn like that. You want to have your crossbow replacement's good here. So you want to turn like this, or you might keep it on the bottom if you think that they might have gotten too fast, so that you had to pick up C4, you got here kind of slow. And then you want to turn like this. You don't want to turn like this, I mean. You want to turn with your crosshair directly in the corner all the time. That way, if they turn the corners, you're turning to kill them, right? But yet if they're on the corner, you still kill them. Whereas if you're like this, you kill them on the corner, but if they're turning the corner, if they turn the corner when you're aiming like this, you're dead. Turn the corner when you're aiming like this, they die. They die still in the corner. Here, they die at the corner, but but you'll die if you turn the corner. Do you see what I'm saying? You want to always expect them, like this, like that. Boom, 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 boom. Crosshair placement, so important, so key. And like I said, if you go mid, you don't want to just clear out this area if you're going to play the vent and sit here, because there could be a guy pushing up. I mean, it's, to me, to feel comfortable, I want to peek here real quick and then go back. That way I know, even if they do decide to come here, they're not there right now. And of course, it's better if you know your own nade spots, such as this. That way if you see a guy on radar, or you do want to go mid, you can clear out certain areas before you go. These are things you should just know as a competitive player. So now, getting back to the sights. As a competitive player on a normal round, what they think about is when they're pushing, they think about how many enemies they know are in the site. They think about, well, first of all, they have to decide when they're going to push. We're just going to think they decide to, because there's too many factors to really talk about for every situation. But if you decide to push in, what you want to think about is where the enemy could be. If there's 1 guy left and he's flashing in radar and 1, you're not going to check the stairs because you know where he is, right? But if there's 2 guys left and 1's flashing on radar and 1, and you don't know where the other guy is, you aren't going to just run after him. You're going to check everything, right? Which you should. So you want to check everything. Also, you don't want to run in right behind a teammate. So if I'm a teammate here, and my other teammate's here, and we both run in at the same time, if there's somebody here, he kills. So what you want to do is have a slight delay. So 1 guy here, and maybe 1 guy far apart. Because then if this guy goes in, this guy, you know, has to be pressure at least away from the door slightly, like maybe around here. And even if this guy dies, as that guy's dying, it's a kill. You want to get the entry frags. What we call entry frags are basically the first kill on the site. If you can turn right here and kill the guy on the stairs, if you can get that entry frag, the first frag, it means that your team can enter the site, and that's important. Because if the enemy team gets the first frag, they kill this guy, and then they fall back and there's no price for it. Then they basically effectively held down the site, let their teammates rotate, possibly even won the round. That's how important entry frags are. Whereas if you're the guys going in here, you can definitely get at least a kill or 2, let us take over the stairs, then you've really done your job. If they let you take the stairs, then, you know, maybe you can get this frag, then you can push in. Just getting the first frag is that important. That's why people try to nade early on, try to get a frag early, because first of all, early on in the round, there's only so many places you can be, right? You can't be all the way at the enemy spawn yet. So it's easier to nade because they're easier to predict. Not only that, but if you get the frag early on, that means the rest of the round should be in your favor slightly, which is why the same thing as the entry frags are important. Just the first frags are important. Every frag is important, but the most important frags are the first frag. If you can get the first kill, take over the site, you're more likely to win. That's just more odds in your favor because that means you're able to take over the site. Yeah. So these are the things a competitive player would think about: is, you know, how much noise am I making? Where could the enemy be? How many are left? What's their HP? I'm looking at the radar. You know, if I get a kill with the nade, I might be looking at the second cam option to see where, you know, maybe their teammates are. You want to have good crosshair placement for sure. So if I'm checking here, you know, you don't want to have your crosshair here and check the door. You want to do this. Seems like more work, but of course, then if they're on the stairs, you're going up there. You know, boom, he's on the stairs, he's dead. But if he's not, he's up there, boom, he's still dead. Whereas this way, I only get to get on the stairs, I don't get anything else. Head level aiming. These things should all be instinct, as Zenga always says to me. You shouldn't have your crosshair have to be like, okay, crosshair head level, okay, peek. For me, it is becoming instinct. You just, boom, crosshair placement perfect, headshot level aim perfect, sound perfect. You're not jumping for no reason. You're not nading for no reason. You're not reloading for no reason. You're covering your teammates. That's something I didn't get to yet. Really important. So, say that there's two guys mid. First guy goes out, goes like this. Good crosshair placement check is this way. Well, if you're his teammate behind him, where should you be looking? You should not do this as well, because then neither of you are looking at vent. You get double killed easily. So if one guy's going like this, the other one should immediately have his aim on the vent and just walk out, follow me. If they run into opposition here, so your teammate's looking over there, the guy, first of all, if he hasn't hit the corner yet, he should still check the vent first. Then, if vent is clear, help him. But he should always think in the back of his mind he could be a vent. So like, you know, whenever you get a chance, you want to check the vent again. But what you don't want to do, even if a teammate's getting in a gunfight right here, that teammate, you don't want to come around here like this and help him out right away. Because what's the point of trying to help him if you haven't cleared the vent? So you gotta be smart with your teammates. You gotta look where your teammate's looking, check every place that they're not looking basically, and then work together. So if one teammate, if you guys are walking up mid, you and a teammate, and you're looking this way, your teammate should be looking here, of course, right? Imagine if he's looking this way, and you're looking this way. What do you think? Enemy coming out of this door gonna have a hard time killing two guys looking this way? I don't think so. Another thing, where should this guy be looking? Should he be looking here or here? Of course he should be looking this way because he has a better angle, right? This guy can see more of that side than he can because he's farther away from the wall. So here, he can't see past this. Here, this guy can see all the way clear past there. See how much of a difference that is? Same thing here. He can see from the tunnel, this person can't. That's why you should watch the opposite direction. So like this. You want to think about these things. Where should you be looking? Where's your teammate looking? Everything like that. That's why a lot of people are bad at watching vent. They'll have one teammate watching stairs, one teammate watching vent. So this guy's watching stairs. Well, if he just starts in a gunfight, it's really common for a team to send people down the stairs, then send people through vent, right? Because what happens is, bad players stop you getting in a gunfight. Now this guy might feel like he has to help. And then what happens? Comes through vent, boom, double kill. There was no point in him helping. What he's really got to do is just keep his cross on the vent and trust his teammate. The worst thing this person can do is die, because then this person has no solution. Usually I watch the vent, and I hate this. I can't look away from vent, right? Like if I try to help him, they come through vent, we're both dead. And it's my fault because he came through the vent. Now if I don't look away from the vent, they kill him, come through on my side, kill me. Oh, that was, you know, that guy's fault. But some people don't realize that if the person watching stair dies, you essentially kill whoever's left in the site. Unless, you know, if this guy dies, if I have time, I could possibly get back in a situation like this, which is okay for me. But if this person dies and I can't get back, I'm screwed. I can't look away from the vent. I can't look this way. The best I can do is maybe turn around and get one kill before I die from the guy at vent. Because there's bound to be a guy coming through vent, you know. It's just nearly impossible. And that's why, you know, as your team, you want to try to get the enemy to look away. You want to, you know, have one guy peek here, come through vent. You want to have, as an NRF, you want to have one guy peek here, so that the guys on stairs start shooting at him. Then you might have the guy over here peek out like this, drag on them while they're looking over there, right? So you have one guy here, he peeks out, they start shooting at him, then he peeks out, kill. You want to distract their attention, and it works. Some people call it baiting, but really, as long as you get the round, as long as you get the kills, it doesn't matter. You shouldn't, what's bad is basically baiting when you don't need to, in the terms of, like, you know, you're pushing into the site, well then, you shouldn't be this far back, waiting for all your teammates to go in and die, wait for them to reload them. That's baiting. Baiting is bad, right? That's bad, because you should have pushed in with your team, use the number advantage to win. Whereas, you know, peeking, basically, what I was talking about earlier, where you want to have this person peek right here, distract their attention, then this person peek out and get a kill, that's not baiting. That's basically intentional baiting. They call that trade kills. If you get this kill on this guy, but then he dies because of his teammate, that's not bad. This is what they call trade kills. That's not baiting. That's good baiting, I guess you could call it if you're going to call it baiting. But what's bad baiting, like I said, is doing it when you don't need to. So you don't want to have, like, you know, your whole team pushes in here and they all die. Then you hear this guy right here like, oh, I just killed, you know, 4 guys, I'm going to reload. Then this teammate comes around from base and just kills that guy. That was a bad bait. I mean, if it wins the round, it's fine. It might have actually been a good decision as long as you can win the round. But doing it when you don't need to and when it isn't the safest or best way is bad. So if there's like 3 enemies left and you bait all of your team, let them all die, then you go after the kills and try to kill them all, that's bad. However, you know, like I said, trading kills, that's always fine. That's actually good teamwork, because think about it this way. If they have 3 people on stairs and you have 2 people in sight, if you're able to trade kills, 1 guy left in sight, 2 guys left on stairs, it's not even a bad situation, because before they had more people, right? So they had more options. If the offense has less options, the defense doesn't mind it. The defense doesn't mind 1v1, 2v2 situations. What the defense really doesn't like, in my opinion, 5v5 situations. It favors the offense. Because essentially, the offense can go to either site, and the defense has to cover both sites. That means they're split up, right? Well, if you're able to trade kills, then you're able to limit their options on, you know, are they going to push in with 2 people? Even if they do rotate, they don't have enough people to leave somebody behind and get this person's flank if they go 2. It's really a huge limiter to have less people for the offense. So defensive players oftentimes bait on purpose or trade kills. And yeah. So this is competitive thinking, basically. You want to think, you know, the enemy is always around every corner. You want to ever cross their place just in case on every single corner. You want to check every corner. You want to look at your radar. You don't want to throw nades without thinking. You don't want to reload without thinking. You want to peek at the best angles, like this. You know? You want to cover your teammates where they're not looking, if they're reloading, all these things. That's how you become a competitive player. And that's all for today.